Hi everyone, welcome to Out of the Box Physical Therapy. Today I'm starting a new series on tips for first year physical therapists. All of this is based on my first year experiences as a physical therapist, things that I learned and found really helpful in my growth as a young physical therapist. I still have a lot to learn. I'm still a young physical therapist, but I thought it could be cool to start the conversation that a lot of you may be wanting to have on how to be a better physical therapist, how to learn when you're just getting into the field, how to progress, how to evolve. So let's jump in. Today I wanted to talk more about how important it is to be willing to learn from your mistakes that first year as a physical therapist. Quite frankly, that's something you should be willing to do your first year and beyond, because we all make mistakes. There's always ways that we can improve. Our profession is constantly evolving and improving, so you're going to be finding yourself in need of a tune-up and an improvement in the way that you treat your patients. But today I mainly wanted to focus on how important it is to be able to take critique from your mentors or your colleagues in terms of improving your treatment with patients, improving your communication skills with patients, or improving your rapport with patients. I definitely understand how it can be tough to hear critiques on who you are as a healthcare professional. It's tough, and it's easy to become very defensive right off the bat, because nobody wants to be told that they're doing something wrong and that they could be doing it better. But you need to be willing to hear those critiques. It's going to make you such a better physical therapist. An example I can give is, well, there could be multiple examples. I mean, I've definitely had times where my supervisor would take me aside and mention ways I could be doing certain activities better with my patients. Or she would suggest, hey, you know, like this patient seemed to be at this level, maybe you should start throwing in some of these types of activities, etc., etc. I know in the beginning, my visceral reaction was one that wanted to be kind of defensive. But I had to take a step back and realize that, particularly with this physical therapist, she definitely knew what she was talking about. Patient I was working with had a shoulder issue, and that's her area of expertise, especially is with the shoulders. And I had, by this point, certainly seen that to be the case. She was really good working with that patient population. And when I took a step back and thought about some of her comments more, I realized, you know, who am I to not listen to this woman who has been doing this for 20 years? So instead of becoming defensive, I tried to ask more clarifying questions about it. And that kind of runs into my next tip regarding this topic, is be willing to even ask for critique and ask for improvements in the way that you treat your patients. There's always ways you could be doing it better. Here's a good way to go about it. As you're working with people, you're hopefully going to notice what they're really good at. And if you find that certain colleagues or your supervisor or boss, whoever, is particularly good with this particular patient population, maybe working with athletes, particularly with knee-related injuries, or this colleague is really good at working with patients who may have issues going on with the SI low back, or this therapist is really good with working on patients with complex shoulder issues. Pay attention, and as you get some of those patients of your own, take time to have a conversation with your colleague. Like, hey, you know, my patient so-and-so, I've been doing this with them. I was just wondering if you have any tips on ways for me to progress them in their treatment, or I was wondering if you've ever seen this kind of diagnosis before. How did you go about treating that patient? I mean, you're going to learn so much from having those conversations with your colleagues. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure some of you are thinking that, hey, I'm fine on my own and I can learn a lot of this on my own. Well, sure you can, but you're going to learn a lot faster if you have someone helping you out. Don't try to take it all on your own. Like, try to get some help in the process. It's going to speed things up. You're going to learn at a faster rate. You're going to become not just a good PT, you're going to become a really, really good PT a lot faster if you're willing to look at the people around you who already have several years of experience ahead of you in the profession, and just soak up that knowledge like a sponge, and you're going to be taking leaps and bounds forward as a healthcare professional. So don't think that you're going to be able to do all of this on your own. It's totally okay to have some help. It's totally okay to make some mistakes. It's totally okay to have times where you look back and realize that you could have done things better. You know, that's normal, that's human, but what's most important is that you look at those situations and realize, I want to do better next time. How can I do better next time? So not only are you going to be able to do better next time by reflecting internally on how to do that, but you also have to be willing to ask people around you, how can I do this better next time? So my last question for all of you is going to be, how are you going to break out of the box today? How are you going to go into your profession this week and try to improve yourself? Please be willing to ask people around you questions. Please be willing to ask people around you to help you be better with this patient or that patient who you may be having some difficulties with. See you next time, everyone.